Robert Nkemdiche, newest 49er, plays Javon Kinlaw's position. Do you think he'll make the team? Why is he here? What are your thoughts on this signing?
Well, I love Nkemdiche at Ole Miss. I mean, first of all, he wore number 5. It seems like they give number 5 at Ole Miss to special players.
He was the number 1 recruit coming out of high school, regardless.
Yeah, he's a monster talent. He's a monster talent. And I just really believe that when you can take a massive talent and put him who, what's Nkemdiche's issue? The people that I've talked to about him have said, he blows a little hot and cold as far as motivation. Perfect. Chris Kocherik.
Yeah.
You take a massive talent like Nkemdiche and put him next to a defensive line coach who's got a very simplistic plan, and he's a tremendous motivator around a bunch of other really talented players where he's got to show or he'll get bounced. I like that equation. I like this pickup. I like taking a chance on a massive talent in this situation when you have the right coach to get it out of them. So I like the pickup. And if I was, when I see Nkemdiche, it makes me think that, guess what? Mo Hurst, Kerry Hyder, Kevin Givens, Hassan Ridgeway, one of those guys is probably going to be the highest profile cut if Nkemdiche fires.
Well, I think they want depth at the defensive tackle spot. They have a ton of DNs. But last year, I think they kept 6 defensive tackles on their team. A wide 9, you can't be light at D tackle. You can't be on – it's really important. Otherwise, you can't stop the run. You can't do anything. So I think this is an intriguing signing. He could make the team. If they cut him, they might be able to keep him on the practice squad. He's been on 3 of the 4 NFC West teams so far, everyone except for the Rams. And I think this guy is someone who could actually push Javon. I think someone needs to push Javon. I know Javon's had injury issues, but he needs to have someone to compete with at camp every day. And Nkemdiche, just a guy really at this point, but he's very talented. He's only 27. I think it's fair. We should bring out the best of Javon.
Well, and also let's look at last year. Last year I was looking at the camp D-line, depth chart and thinking, man, they're stacked, they're loaded, they're absolutely the deepest D-line I've ever seen. Well, what happened? How'd the season play out? They had to trade for guys like Jordan Willis and Charles Menahue. Yeah. So that's what happens. It's like starting pitching in baseball. You can never have enough D linemen because if you can't move that quarterback off the spot, then it's like game over. And so, what?
You can't stop the run up the gut. It's definitely game over.
Yeah, so why not just stack up as many guys? I don't care if you got to show up in camp with 20 D linemen. The reality is guys get hurt. Yeah. Ford's moving on. Kalia Davis may have to have a redshirt year. Is Ridgeway in good enough shape? Can Kevin Givens play the run? Is Mo Hurst healthy? And can Kerry Hyder give you another good season? He's kind of an undersized guy, especially if you got to play him for any extended period of snaps. So they got, and Kinlaw's had, perennial issues staying on the field with that knee. So I just think they look at their D line and they said, you know what? We were stacked last year. We still need to trade day 3 picks in the future for reinforcements. So let's add another guy.
One thing I wanted to bring this up during the Stafford section. I missed it, but I want to say is Stafford is a Super Bowl winning quarterback and he's very good, but the Niners beat him twice last year. He's not a great quarterback. He makes bad decisions like Jimmy Garoppolo, and you can sack him. He's not that mobile. If you can't sack him, if you let him hold the ball 3 seconds, he can make breathtaking throws down the field. He will kill you. And I think in that last game, in the fourth quarter, they couldn't get to Matthew Stafford anymore. But in that week 18 game, they swarmed him. So if they can stick to that script and have a better pass rush than last year, they still match up very well with the Rams.
They got to figure out a way to cover Cooper Kupp.
They should call and tell them that. Maybe they didn't realize.
Well, and here's the thing. Go look at the box scores from the previous games. The Rams, I believe Cooper Kupp caught one of those games. He caught 7 balls on 7 attempts. They never forced an incompletion from Stafford to Cooper Kupp.
No.
So, I mean, and the Rams just went away from it. And then that one game, the Rams were trying to show how tough they were. So they kept running Sony Michel and running. And it's like, hey, that's not your advantage. Your advantage is you have Cooper Kupp, and the Niners don't have anybody to cover them. And when it got to the NFC Championship game, when the money was on the table, they figured it out and said, you know what? Wait a second. We'll just keep going to Cooper Kupp. And the Niners still couldn't cover it.
The Rams were like, oh, we have an all-pro wide receiver. And the Niners were like, do we have an all-pro wide receiver? I forgot.
Yeah.
Juice Man Jeremy says next week, new donation is July 25. And guess what, Grant? What? I don't know. Tell me. Don't tell me Jimmy Garoppolo's still on the team. I can't bear to hear it. NY Niners 718 says we only lost to LA because we played them 3 times. Hey, there's something to that. And Niner fans can take heart in the fact that they do own the Super Bowl champions. So,
well, I mean, and also, you know what? Sometimes you got to give credit where credit is deserved. Look at that Ram D line and what they did to Joe Burrow and the Bengals in the Super Bowl.
7 sacks.
They owned it. They owned the Bengals O-line. Now, the Bengals O-line was bad. So that is the big question for the 49ers is their O-line. They reinforced it. Can they stay healthy? Can they find guys to play those other interior spots? Is McGlinchey healthy? Can the Niners, and if there's one question that sums up the entire season, can the Niners O-line block the Rams D-line and other great D-lines? That's the question of the year. If they can do that, they're going to win. If they can't do that, Trey's going to get hurt. We're going to see Sudfeld. We're going to see Purdy. And we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about Jimmy. We're going to be talking about the O-line in the draft. We're going to be looking up O-linemen in the Big Ten. I mean, it's can the Niner O-line block the best D-lines in football, most notably the Rams? Biggest question of the year.
We know Brunskill can block Aaron Donald.
He's had success against him head-to-head.
We don't know about Banks. We don't know about Brendel. We don't know about McGlinchey 2.0. We'll find out.
A'Shawn Robinson kicked their ass. When the money was on the table, A'Shawn Robinson kicked ass. That can't happen again. You can't have A'Shawn Robinson kicking people around when you've got Leonard Floyd, Von Miller, and Aaron Donald all next to him. And that's what happened in the championship game. A'Shawn Robinson was awesome. He really was.
Also, people don't talk about this, but the Rams initially went from not being able to stop the Niners run game to really shutting it the hell down. And I think they've adjusted, and this whole gouging the Rams on the ground, only playing 10 and 11 football is probably over. And if you want to stick to the script of owning time of possession, I think you're going to need Trey Lance in here now. I think this run game is going to be how can the run game be worse when you're playing on 11 on 11 football as opposed to 10 on 11? We saw this happen with Colin Kaepernick and Alex Smith. It's going to be a better run game this year. That's going to help against the Rams. They could be a really good team this year as long as they can keep Trey Lance healthy.
Well, the other thing I think was a fail on Kyle's part was the Rams brought in Eric Weddle. Everything Eric Weddle was going to do was going to be up on the line of scrimmage against the run. All the impact he was going to have was going to be within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. They didn't make Eric Weddle play pass coverage, and he made the biggest play of the year right at the line of scrimmage. And then they should have isolated him, forced him into some kind of coverage down the field, and exploited his ass. And they just couldn't do it. And so they allowed the Rams to sign a guy off the street who could not run, and the 49ers didn't force him to run. So that was a colossal fail. And now he re-retired, but now he's got a ring.